everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm talking about my 6 essentials to start your watercolor journey. And a bit of a spoiler alert, there's only one of these items that I think you should be spending a lot of money on. The rest can be really inexpensive just to see if you like watercolor as a medium. For anybody who's new here, my name is Jennifer, my channel is KakiAndBloom, and here I share watercolor tips and tricks, tutorials, everything you need to know to have fun with watercolor. The first item that I suggest you have, of course, color. You need color to do watercolor, and I suggest a watercolor palette that's inexpensive. You don't need to spend a lot of money on your first watercolor palette. I really like this one from Koi. I'll put all the information in the description box down below if you want to check it out, and you'll see this palette is well loved. It has all the colors you need to get started, and I also love that it has a handy little spot at the top here to do some mixing so that you don't need any other item. The second thing that I obviously think that you need are some paintbrushes, but I don't think, again, that you should be spending a lot of money on paintbrushes when you start your watercolor journey. However, I think that you should have at least 2 brushes. A thicker brush like this one, and I like having one with a bit of a tapered edge. It just makes it easier to do certain shapes. And then a much thinner one like this one so that you can do detail work when you're done with the bulk of your painting and you want to add kind of smaller little items. A small brush such as this one will make it really easy to do that. The next thing on the list is some tape, and that's because either you want tape to to secure your paper to your work surface so it doesn't move around while you're painting, because that can be really frustrating. And also it's really nice to have tape because it allows you to create a really nice border on your paper. So whether you're using a sketchbook or just watercolor paper, having a nice border all around will really help you make everything that you paint look super professional once you take the tape off. So you want to look for some tape, and I suggest looking for some washi tape. You might have used washi tape for a variety of other craft projects, but it works really well with watercolor paper, and the reason is that it's really gentle tape. So when you peel it off of your watercolor paper, it's really easy to peel off and you don't run the risk of it tearing the paper. That's happened to me before, and if you tear the paper once you've just spent all this time making a nice painting, it's so frustrating. So look for washi tape. It makes it super easy, and a bit of a bonus point if it looks as pretty as this one. The next thing, and this is what I suggest spending some money on. Oh, actually, you know what? Before I get to that, just something really easy and of course an essential, but so obvious, is just having a nice container to put your water in. I like using a pretty mug. It just makes me want to reach for it even more, but any kind of container to put your water in is obviously an essential. What I do suggest that you spend your money on is good quality watercolor paper. This is where your money should be going. It's really hard to know if you like watercolor if you're not using the white paper. Watercolor can be a little bit finicky. It uses a lot of water, much more than most mediums. And if you're not using thick, good quality paper, your paper's going to become wavy. It might even tear, and that's incredibly frustrating, and you won't get the full watercolor experience. So look for some good quality, 100% cotton watercolor paper, and thick watercolor paper. So you're looking for 300 grams. GSM is what it's usually labeled as, and you'll know that the paper is nice and thick and you'll be able to get the job done. I also opt for cold press paper. You'll see it usually says either cold press or hot press. Cold press simply means that there's more grain and texture to that paper. Hot press is usually smoother. I think that the charm of watercolor is texture, so I love working with cold press paper, and that's the paper that I would suggest starting with, but it's a bit of a question of preference. And the last thing, which is an essential for me because I've fallen in love with it and I think it's such a lovely, neat feature of watercolor, is just simply having a gel pen like this one. This is my Jelly Roll pen in a size 8. It just looks like this. Incredibly inexpensive, of course, but what I love about this is that it allows you to add a whole bunch of detail to your watercolor painting once you've finished it, and it just makes it really easy to add little dots, little details, and it's something so lovely about watercolor to be able to incorporate other kinds of mediums to kind of complete your painting. And I think if you're starting out, you really should give this a go. It will really make you fall in love with watercolor. Thanks everyone for watching, and if you think that there's any other essentials that you would add to this list, please let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next video.